Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Welcome to Basic Exploration and Production Training, Module 1, Part 2. Today we're going to talk about the life cycle of oil and gas fields. The life cycle of oil and gas fields starts with exploration, followed by appraisal, then development, and the production of oil and gas, until the decommissioning of facilities at the end of the life, which is also called abandonment. What constitutes upstream activities? The life cycle of oil and gas fields. Firstly, exploration. It is the search by petroleum geologists and geophysicists for deposits of hydrocarbons, particularly oil and gas. Exploration encompasses the processes and methods involved in locating potential sites for oil and gas drilling extraction. The next stage is appraisal, where drilling is carried out once oil or gas has been discovered. In order to assess the extent of the field, the reserves, the possible rate of production, and the properties of the oil and gas. Appraisal is an avenue to reduce the range of uncertainty in the volumes of hydrocarbon in place. The next cycle is development. Field development plan provides the best technical solutions for field optimization and includes all activities and processes required to optimally develop a field. After field development plan is approved, oil and gas development project will be executed and hand over to production team when it is ready to open the valve to produce the oil. And come to the next stage, which is production. The process of extracting the hydrocarbons and separating the mixture of oil, gas, water, and solids, removing the constituents that non-sellable and selling the oil and gas. Oil production requires increasingly sophisticated technology and greater attention to the related environmental impacts. And finally, decommissioning. Decommissioning is the process of ending offshore oil and gas operation and offshore platforms and returning the ocean, the seafloor, to its pre-lease condition. The economic lifetime of the field normally terminates once its net cash flow turns permanently negative and it's time for decommissioning. In terms of activities, the field starts with outcrop study to understand the geologic time scale of historic Earth. This will establish the geological history of the area. And then it will follow with seismic study. Seismic survey is a method used during exploration phase of oil and gas development. It gives an idea of what is present underneath the Earth's surface. And then appraisal drilling is done when oil and gas has been discovered in order to assess how much there is, how big the field is, the possible production rate, and the properties of the oil and gas. The development stage takes place after successful completing the appraisal period before the beginning of the field production. Finally, the production stage begins. Production is the process of extracting the hydrocarbon and separating the mixture of liquid hydrocarbon gas, water, and solids. We will go through detail of each activity in this training module. What is outcrop study? The study of outcrop is widely used by geologists in geological survey. These outcrop exposures allow direct observation and sampling of the bedrock in situ for geologic analysis and creating geologic maps. As you can see in the picture, an area of land where the underlying rocks are exposed, this is an outcrop area. Firstly, a visible exposure of bedrock or ancient superficial deposits on the surface of the earth. The rock may be exposed or crop out in places where the overlaying cover is removed through erosion or tectonic uplift. Outcrops allow direct observation and sampling of bedrock in situ for geologic maps. In situ measurements are critical for proper analysis of geologic history. Outcrops are important for understanding the geologic timescale of Earth history. And then continuing after the outcrop is the seismic survey. Seismic survey is a method of investigating below ground structure for exploration of petroleum deposit. The technique is based on determining the time intervals that elapse between initiation of seismic wave at a selected short point and the arrival of reflected or refracted impulses at one or more seismic detectors. In other words, seismic exploration is the use of seismic energy to probe beneath the surface Earth, usually as an aid in searching for economic deposits of oil and gas. Seismic surveys use acoustic waves to create images of the Earth through analysis of vibration from those waves. We will go through details of seismic surveys in exploration chapter. Our next subject is, where do oil and gas come from? Petroleum is a fossil fuel. It was formed from remains of ancient marine organisms, such as plants, algae, and bacteria. There are two different theories for the origin of petroleum: organic and inorganic. Inorganic theory states that chemical reactions have occurred, where hydrogen and carbon are brought together under great pressure and temperature deep in the earth to form petroleum. While organic theory, which is the mostly widely accepted, is originated from organic remains of plants and animals buried in fine-grained sediments that changes under changing physical and chemical environment. This remain was settled into seas and accumulated at the ocean floor and buried under several kilometers of sediments. Organic theory, decomposition of plants and animals. Over a few million years, the layers of organic material were compressed under the weight of the sediments above them. This increase in pressure and temperature with the absence of oxygen change the mud, sand slip, or sediments into rock and organic matter into kerogen. After further burial and heating, the kerogen transforms via cracking into petroleum and natural gas. This diagram will illustrate the oil and gas formation. Over 300 to 400 million years ago, tiny sea plants and animals died and were buried on the ocean floor. Over time, they were covered by layers of sleet and sand. Over 50 to 100 million years ago, the remains were buried deeper and deeper. The enormous heat and pressure turned them into oil and gas. And today, we'll drill down through layers of sand, sleet, and rock to reach the rock formations that contain oil and gas deposits. As we all understand now, petroleum is a finite substance formed from organisms decaying several kilometers below the ground surface. There are substantial conditions for the formation of petroleum, such as saturated oil, absence of oxygen, and high pressure and temperature conditions. That ends my presentation for today. In our next session, we will begin our journey in E&P professional world. We will start with oil and gas exploration. Thank you very much and have a good day.